All right, so welcome over here once again. We're going to start the class immediately. Okay, so somewhere here, welcome you all to tonight's training. All right, so as we have said before, tonight we are going to be getting ourselves familiar with how to use Elementor widgets. We're going to be getting ourselves familiar with the different widgets we have in Elementor and how to go about making use of them. All right, so without further ado, I would like to move to my browser immediately. Okay. So of course, if you want to reach Elementor widget, you're going to have to do that firstly by passing through your WordPress. Okay. So the first thing we have to do now is to log in into our WordPress dashboard. And how do you do that? How do you log into your WordPress dashboard? As we have learned before, you're going to have to go to the I'm going to have to input the domain name you established in the past. That link I just mentioned now implies your domain name /WordPress-admin. So by the time you click that, by the time you input that link, what you are saying is, I want to go into the WordPress to input host. Alright, that's a capital letter. Host Academy. Right, so this is our domain here, hostacademy.com.ng. But what we want to do is to input. What we want to do is to log in into our WordPress dashboard, right? So we are going to have /wp-admin. That's what takes us to our WordPress interface. Right, so what we are doing at the moment is we are logging in into our WordPress dashboard. So let's hold on as that loads up. The network tonight is quite slow. All right, so we have landed into our WordPress dashboard. Okay, so what we want to do is to get ourselves familiar with Elementor widgets once again. So once we are here, the question is, what do you use Elementor widgets to do? We use them to build our pages. Okay, so since what we want to make use of them is inside the pages, it's only reasonable that we from here locate our pages and then we click on it. So our pages brought us here. In the past, we have been able to create all these pages, but I'm going to take us through the process of creating a page again. All right, somebody have done something, created a page, did something that you have sent to me, and that was quite impressive. However, for the sake of record, I will go through the process of creating a page again, and then we'll move further to how to edit with Elementor. So, to mention, this is what we are going to be imitating today. I try to design something not to the end of creating something beautiful specifically, but I try to bring together something that is going to help us to touch some specific and important aspects while we are trying to get ourselves familiar with Elementor widgets. So I just brought them together, came out, build something like an interface. It's a very simple thing. It's loading, right? So I created this this afternoon. All right, you see it's not looking really beautiful, just stuff here and there. All right, however, I brought it together with the mindset of what we are going to need, what are the necessary things that we need to touch while getting ourselves familiar with Elementor widgets. So I was saying, okay, we are going to need this, we're going to need this, we're going to need this, we're going to need this, and that's how I brought all this together. So this is what I'm going to be imitating. Okay, so let's come back here. How do we create a page? I can get rid of all these pages actually. Get rid of this. Right, so to delete a page, you can check it here, and I think that's the only page I want to delete. Once you click it here, you can either say trash, or you come here and say move to trash. All right, so let me simply trash it out from here. I don't need that page. so it's no longer here. So I want to create a new page now, just for the sake of record, as I've said earlier. So I'm going to come to add new page. I would like to open that on a new tab. So let's come check it out here. So once you click on that link that says add new page and it's launched here, the first thing you want to do is to input the name of the page into this box that says add title. So you say, for instance, the page you want to create is about page. So you want to input the name of the page as I just did and come over here and publish. I clicked on publish once, it brought this out, so I'll click on it again. So I published twice. So pay attention to what you have here. It says page published. All right. Now, remember that I opened creating a new page on a new tab. Right. So if I go back to my WordPress dashboard, which is here, if I reload this interface, all right, I'm going to have my about page here now. Okay. So now let me show you something that you should observe. To come to home page, you observe that you can see something like edit with Elementor, and that is not available when you come to about page. Why that is happening is because I have accessed Elementor interface with this home page, why I have not done that with this about page. All right, I've gone into my home page, I have edited with Elementor, I have brought things together. As a matter of fact, what you have here was done into my home page, into this very page, right? So the gist is, you don't have this button, you don't have this link here until you have at least edited that very page with Elementor once. At least once. You must have edited that page with Elementor at least once before you have this link down here, right? Why we don't have it here is because we have not accessed Elementor with this very page. So if I come back here, how am I supposed to now edit this page with Elementor? I either say edit, I click on edit, right? Let me put that on a new tab. Click on edit, right? It's loading. All right, so it brings me back here. Now, this is where I just clicked on another tab. This is the interface where we created this page. All right. Now, because I don't have edit Elementor here, I click on edit and I open it on a new tab and it brought me here. If you observe, you're going to see that it is still the same page. All right, it is the same page. All right. So when you don't have your edit Elementor and you click on edit, where it's going to land you is that very place where you created the page. Okay, so from there you can say edit with Elementor. So it's then going to load out Elementor interface for you. So let's hold on. As it loads out into Elementor interface, then we'll come back here to reload this page. Then we'll check out the links that we have under about us. And you get the gist I'm trying to communicate to you. All right, so this is the Elementor interface already. We came into this space with our about page. So let's come back here and reload. So you see edit with Elementor is now showing here. All right, so why we didn't have it there before is because we have not accessed this page, this interface, Elementor interface you're seeing now with about page. But since we have now gotten into Elementor interface with our about page, it is definitely going to start showing here. Okay, so I believe that has been gotten. So the next thing that we have to do now is to get to the business of today, the real business of today. Okay, but before I go ahead, I'd like to have our response as usual. Do we all get the gist about how to create page, why edit with Elementor was showing at some point and why it was not showing at some point? Do we all get that gist now? Right, thank you, Alkanla Yomide. Are you the only one on the session? All right, thank you, Shesanwe. So, all right, so having done justice to that, let's then begin the business of today, and that's getting ourselves familiar with Elementor widget. How we are going to be achieving that is to recreate what you can see here. All right, so let me do a very brief introduction. I have said it earlier that our website interface has what we can call anatomy. Okay, you can call it the anatomy of your website. All right, so the first aspect of your website, something that looks like this, is your nav bar. Okay, in this angle here, something like this, you're going to have your logo. All right, and then here you're going to have your menus: home page, about page, contact page. Those are the two most important things that you're supposed to have in your navbar, your logo and your menus. Okay, but oftentimes or sometimes we include more informations like contact. We try to input stuff like social media icons through which people can access the social media platforms of whatever company or individual you are building your website for. So the end of all that is to make sure that your website does not look too simple. Okay, so make it more beautiful, show some level of expertise and the likes. Right, so that's that about navbar. Immediately after your navbar, the section that you have is called your hero section. So this is our navbar here, and this section that you have from here to this point is what we call the hero section. All right, is the first section that you're going to be seeing immediately you come into your website. That's the hero section. Immediately after the hero section, all other sections are referred to as the body. All right, now after the body, you're going to have the footer. From the word foot, so you're going to have the footer. All right, the footer also can be inclusive of a whole lot of things. You can have some other information like listing of menus. If it's a website where we have categories, you can list out categories. We're going to see how that looks like in subsequent lessons when we start building with templates. All right, however, the most important thing when it comes to your footer is your copyright. All right, something like this. So copyright 2024, you can input your name as the designer. So for instance, I'm working for somebody, I'm building a website, I'm Hosty Empire. So I can say copyright 2024 powered by, then I input Hosty Empire instead of Astra WordPress team. All right, so that's the gist. If you don't have any other thing in your footer, you must have this. All right, so whatever any other thing you are adding to the footer after this is just to show your level of expertise and to make the website more professional. I believe that's gotten. So let's start building this. If you see this interface you have here, our hero section, all right? So we have this one long section that has an image at the background, and then we have text on it with two buttons. Okay, so let's come here. If you want to start building, the first thing you need to do is to create the section. I told you that this is called an hero section. This is the whatever section you have after the hero section is called the body. However, the body is made up of different sections. The section starts from here to here, and being the first section in that website, it's called the hero section. Now, immediately after that hero section, another section starts from here and ends here. All right. Immediately after this section, another section starts from here and ends here. So in this very short scroll I just did now, we have about 3 sections. All right. So that implies that if you want to start designing, especially when you're designing from scratch, before you start putting things together, the first thing you will need to do is to create a section. And how do you do that? Is by clicking on this plus icon, right? And then select Flexbox. And for what we want to achieve, you see, you have different structure here, right? So this is the structure, this is another structure, this is another structure, and this is another. You have it on and on like that. So what you want to achieve is going to determine which of these structures you are going to make use of. Okay, so that's part of getting ourselves familiar with Elementor widgets. So just stay with me. You are going to get the gist very soon. So what we have here is a long section that is not broken into 2. So as a result of that, this is what we're going to be selecting this. This is a long structure, all right? So let's click on it. And what we just clicked on is what you have here. This is the container, or what the other word for it now. All right. This is the container or section. You can either call it a container or a section, starting from here and ending here. And if you come back here and check this out, this starts from here and ends here, then definitely this very short height cannot do justice to what we want to achieve. Then there is the need for us to increase the height. So you come to minimum height over here, and then you increase the height. Right. So this is where you get to increase the height. Oftentimes, immediately you create a section, the first thing you want to do is to come here and increase your height. All right. So let me do, since we are talking about section here, let me do a very fast introduction to what you have in this interface. Now, I must first tell you that when it comes to this space here, all right, whatever it is that you are working on, here is what's going to determine what you are going to have here. I try to explain that better. The reason why we have something like container layout, container width, minimum height in this area here is because what we are working on at the moment is a container. If we are to drag in a text widget, the content we are going to have here is going to be different. All right. However, something remains constant, and that's the heading that you have here. It's always going to be layout, style, and advanced. All right. However, the content that you have inside each of these headings, for the layout, this is what we have. For the style, this is what you have. For the advanced, this is what you have. The content of each of these headings will be different based on what you are working on. All right. So because we are working on a container, this is what we have at the moment. These are the options that are going to be responsible for us to adjust our container and achieve whatever it is that we want to achieve in it. All right. So let me just point to a few things that are going to be very needful for us. Right. So as this says, this is what is responsible for the width of the container. All right. You might not be seeing that making any effect at the moment because we have not really actually added any content to it. However, I believe you have seen minimum height make or do its thing. Because you can see it's reducing and then it increases. All right. So that's what that is used for. Now we have direction, we have justify content, we have align items, and we have gap. All right. So to help you see how these three things works, I'm going to need to drag in some things. So I want to escape this interface you have here. Come to this plus icon and click on add element. All right. So I should have mentioned immediately we wanted to start. The stuff you have here now, this is what you get to see immediately you come into your Elementor interface. When we landed here, these are the options that we have. All right. So everything you are seeing here are the Elementor widgets that we were talking about. These are the Elementor widgets that we say we want to get ourselves used to, want to get ourselves familiar with. All right. So to the end of explaining how direction, justify content, align items, how those things works, I'm going to need to drag in my text widgets. How do you drag in your text widget? You want to make use of this, any of these widgets at all. You click on it, you drag, you see this line here, and then you drop into it. That's why it is called a drag and drop system. All right. So you drag from the Elementor widget, you bring it to your container, and then you drop it into it. Now, I said earlier that what you are working on is going to determine the content you are going to see in this interface. Earlier before now, when we were working on our section under content, what we had was minimum height, width, gap, we had justified content and the likes. Now we are working on a text widget, and as you can see, the content here has changed. So that verifies what I just told you now. And I'm going to need to put that in mind. All right. So this is text widget. I will need to reduce this height, this width rather, for the purpose of what I want to achieve. Just stay with me. Now this text widget starts from here and ends here. You can see the line. However, the text within it starts from here and ends here. The implication of this is if I continue typing into this section, all right, my content can keep on going till it reaches here. But in a situation where I don't want whatever it is I'm pressing to go beyond this line, for instance, where you can see my cursor, I'm going to have to reduce the width that you have here to something like this, so that the width starts from here and ends here. The implication of that is if I keep on typing, whenever my content gets to the end of the width, then it comes down, it breaks into another line and starts typing under this again. Let me get that done. So to reduce this width, I want to reduce the width, and I'm explaining this because of what I want to achieve. What we want to do is to explain align item, justify content. Okay, but on my way to doing that, I'm encountering some few things, and I'm using the opportunity to explain stuff to us. We are getting ourselves familiar with Elementor widgets. Am I communicating tonight? Is everybody getting the gist tonight? Yes, definitely. The recording is going on. All right. Let me just do this manually, but it's definitely going on already. Okay, so let's get back to work. So I'm going to come to advanced to reduce the width of this. Then you're going to see width right here. So click on default, come to custom, and then you have the options to make have fun with the width right here. So you can see this line. Set your eye on this line over here. You're going to see that it's increasing and it's decreasing as I drag this. All right. Okay. So that's how to increase and decrease the width of your text widgets. All right. So having done that, I did like to come back to where I'm going to be able to edit this section. All right. Put in mind that if you want to edit this text, you click on this pencil icon. It brings out this interface for you. We are on advanced. That was the last place we worked. That's why you are seeing this. If what you want to do is to put effects to some text, then you come back to content yourself, and then you're going to have it here. And if where you want to go is to style something, you come back here and then you style. Don't get it twisted. Don't be confused. It's very easy. It's just about clicks here and there. All right. So to edit a text, you're going to have to click on this pencil icon, and then it's going to land you in this interface. Now, if you want to edit this container, the entire container, all right, that we added into this page at the beginning of this training, you're going to have to come. You see this plus, 6 dot, and this delete or multiplication sign. I'm going to click on this 6 dot. All right, it's going to bring back this interface for you, so that you are now able to edit this container. All right. So what do you want to explain? Direction, justify content, and align item. I'll start with justify content and align item. All right. So justify content has to do with the position of your content, right, in regard to the how do I put this now? Beginning, middle, and end. Permit me to make use of that. So if you want this content to actually be at the middle here, I'm going to have to click on this center. If you want it to be at the end here, I'm going to click on this. All right. That was an error. All right, so this is how it works. The drama it was doing just now is, I guess, it's a matter of network, but you can see how it works now. If you click on this, it comes to the end. If you click on this, it comes to the middle. If you click on this, it goes back to the beginning. All right, so for align items, as much as justify content has to do with beginning, middle, and end. In terms of height, you see, it's in terms of height. Now, align items have to do with beginning, middle, and end. In terms of width, if I come to my align item and I say center, it comes to the middle here. If I come to my align item and I say end, it brings it down here. I started again. It brings it down here. All right. Now, if I want it to be in the center, that is, I want it to be at this point, I will use align item to bring it to the middle here in terms of width, and I will use justify content to drop it down to this point in terms of height. Okay, and that will drop it here. So justify content helps you to bring your content from either above here to the middle or to the end, while align items help you to move your content from the beginning here to the middle and to the end in terms of width. Justify content is about height, align items is about width. All right, so you are going to need to know how to combine the two to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. For instance, let's say I want to get my content in this corner here. The first thing I want to do is to come to align items and shift this to this extreme end. So I bring it down. It comes to this extreme end. Then I come here. I say I want to drag this down now. I come here and I click on this. It comes here. I want to bring it up here. That's just a click. I just come here and I click on this. It comes up. All right. So that's that about align items, and justify content. Now about direction. If I click on this pencil icon, I'm going to be able to duplicate this content. Let me duplicate that 3 times, right? So you have 3 of these here. Now I'm on text edit again, right? So if you mistakenly click on whatever in your course of editing, right, and what you have here changes, don't get it twisted. Just get familiar with, based on what I'm saying, what is it that I am working on. Definitely I know that what I'm working on now is text widgets. That's not what I want. I want sections. So I'll come back here and click on this dot, and I'm back here. All right, so what I want to explain to us is this. You see the way this text is stacking over each other. You have this, then you have this, then you have this. That's because in the clicks for our direction, we selected this arrow that is pointing vertical. If we want a situation where you have, instead of stacking over each other, you have one here, another here, and another here, you simply change the direction. Right, so you see that it now starts from here to here to here. So when you say it should point horizontal, whatever content you are bringing into your container is going to be arranging themselves horizontally. If you say it should go vertical, whatever content you are bringing into your container is going to be stacking on each other. All right, that's that about that. Let me get rid of 2 of these and then go back to, right, let me do this. Let me still click on this. I'm going to use this opportunity to explain everything about container. Okay, so that's that about this aspect. At least the 2 things that are going to need to survive or come up with something beautiful. So let's go to style. When we come to style, what I'm going to have here is background overlay, and border. We also have shape divider, but I think at least let's explain these 3 to ourselves at the moment. So when you hear the word background, of course, we're talking about what lays under your container. If you check this place, this solar panel image you are seeing here is our background image. All right, so how do you input your background? You come here, click on it. You have classic, you have gradient, you have video, and you have slideshow. So when it comes to classic, you have 2 more options. You have color, and then you have image. So if you click on this, you're going to be able to add color to your background. All right, another way to add color to your background is to input color code into this space. You can go to your browser and search for the color code for any color is it you want to use. For instance, color code for gold, you're going to have FFD 700. So let me pick that into this space, FFD 700. Right, so that gives you a gold that looks similar to yellow, right? So if what you want to do, meanwhile, I don't need that color, so I'm going to reduce the opacity, and here it goes, it fades away. If you want to make use of an image, you come down here and then you click on choose image. It brings you to your media library. Your media library is about the images that you have once upon a time uploaded on this website before. So in the course of creating today, I uploaded these images, and that's why you have them here. If the image you want to make use of is not found on your media library, that implies that you have not installed it on your website. You have now at any point in time bring it down to your website. Okay, if you are making use of a template, all the images in the template are naturally going to be found here. All right, but if you want to import an image, you come to upload file, select file, and from here you're going to be able to access your laptop, your PC file manager. All right, so you can pick any images you want to use from here. All right, so is there something I can use as an example? So if you click on this, you're going to click on the image, you say open, and then it's going to get imported into your media library. All right, it's loading. Let's hold on a bit all the time. Wow. The time is fast spent. Let's see how fast we can move. Oh. All right, so boom, I'm waiting for you. So here is it, but that's not the image you want to make use of. I just did that to show you how to add an image to your media library. This is the image you want to make use of. You click on it, then you say select. Then it's going to appear here immediately. Right, so there are a few settings that comes alongside that image. First of all, I did like to start from repeat. You come to repeat, you say no repeat. Right, the application of that is, let me leave it at repeat and show you what happens. To come, it starts to repeat, I'll return it to the default mode. If I come to display size and I say contain, all right, I'm going to see that the image is repeating themselves. This is the entire image from here to here to here to here. It ended here, then another image started from here. So when you are at that default mode, the image is going to be repeated as the word says. It says repeat. All right, so I like to come here and say no repeat, so it becomes just one. All right, so what do I do to this remaining space? I come here and then I have fun with this. Let's say cover. All right, so it gives us this. Okay, so you can still go ahead and have fun. You can try to select others. You can try contain. You can try custom. You can try auto. Right, so depending on what you want, but I will go with contain. Oh, sorry, I'll go with cover. Right, so that's it. If you like, you can come back to layout and increase your minimum height so you can have a better view. Right, so let's come back to style. So that's that about the display size. Display size has to do with how big or how small you want your image to get displayed. Repeat simply removes the other repeated part of the images. All right, so let's come to positioning. Positioning has to do with if you imported an image and there's a particular aspect of that image that you actually want to get reviewed, or maybe you want to hide some part of the image, you can get that done with the position. See, we have center, we have top. You see, it keeps on moving. All right, it keeps on moving. Then what I like to make it of oftentimes is my default. All right, with the default you have the X position and the Y position, so you can achieve whatever it is you want with that. The Y position moves it left and right. All right, while the Y position move it up and down. So you can use that creatively to achieve whatever it is that you really want. It has gone down too much. Okay, so that's that about positioning, and that's all within classic. Right, so you still have gradient. The gradient has to do with the combination of two colors. Okay, so you have the first color here, you have the second color here. The first color here is empty. So you can come in there, increase the opacity. You choose black, you see that changes to black. So with gradients, you can have two colors on. You can mix up two colors. This works for either a button, container, text, whatever it is you are working on. Gradients, in a nutshell, has to do with a mixture of two colors. Now you have video. Of course, if you click on it, you're going to have to upload that video on YouTube or your drive, and then you are going to bring the embedded link and paste into this space. In subsequent classes, I hope you'll be able to get this done. Once you paste it here, the video is going to be functioning. The video is going to be functioning as your background play. So you have your text on it and every other thing you want, and the video will be there at the background playing. All right, for slideshow, let's get that done. For slideshow, as it says, I'm going to have about 2, 3, 4 images. All right, so when you have them, they're going to be showing like that as slides at your background. Right, so you can have fun, try those things out and see how it works. What we want to make use of tonight is classic, or just making use of an image. All right, so if you come here, you're going to observe that this looks darker than what we have here. So that brings us to talk about background overlay. All right, background overlay has to do with you adding a color to or your background. All right, now it is not always about adding a color above your background. We have a background here already, which is an image. Now what we want to do right now is to add a color above this image. In another way, we could actually have a color as our background, then we will bring in an image as the overlay. That's how I achieved this. All right, so let's get those two things done, and this will be the last thing. This section will be the last section that we are going to create. All right, so let me bring in, click on overlay. You're going to have classic and gradient. As you have heard before, when you click on classic, you have the options of either image or color. So if you want to make color your overlay, you click on this, click on black, you can see. All right, so there's a space what we call opacity, where you increase the thickness of that black depending on what you want to achieve. All right, so let's leave it at this point. Now the essence of this is, before we added this overlay, you agree with me that that picture was so bright. Okay, so if you come here and start adding white text on so much white images, you're not going to be able to see those texts well, except you're going to be bringing in deep colors on that text. Maybe you're going to be using black. Okay, or if what you want to really use is white, okay, you're going to have to darken or bring in an overlay on that image, so that by the time you now put the white text on it, it will not give you problem. Right, so you can also make use of gradient as your overlay. That's mixture of two colors. I've done that earlier. Now let me do the other way around overlay immediately. So of course I'm going to have to add the section. Click on this. We need only one structure, and it gives us what you have from here to here. All right, so this is our arrow section, and our body starts from here. Now the body starts with another section. This is the section starting from here to here. Immediately you are here, I've said it earlier, the first thing you want to do is to increase the minimum height. All right, so let's give this a background color. You come to style. Style oftentimes has to do with anything that pertains to designing, making something beautiful, color, typography, and the likes. So let's come to style. We have background, overlay, just as we have in the previous section that we were editing. It's always the same. All right, so you come here, I want to use this color, we want to make our background a color. All right, so let's do that. That's not bad. All right, so that's background. Now let's come to overlay. You remember that at this point the overlay we used was a color. We had an image as the background, we will now add an overlay as a color. In this instance, we are having a background as a color, and our overlay is going to be an image. All right, so let's click on classic, and then we choose this very image. This image does not have a background. All right, you need to put that in mind if you want to do something like this. It comes out better when it's an image that does not have a background. All right, so select. So don't forget, it's about positioning. Let's say center. That brings it up. Let me come to layout and increase the minimum height for a better view. All right, so here you have it. Now let's come back to style and locate our background overlay. So you can have fun with the positioning depending on what you want to achieve. You see, it looks better. If you want it to be, you want to achieve something whereby the tag goes so deep into that image, you reduce the opacity, so the image you inputted as overlay begins to interact with that very background color. But if you want the overlay to be standing as though it is standing on the color, all right, so you just increase the opacity. All right, so that's that for you. I hope you can see that well. Right, so that's, by the way, we have done justice to that. Let's come back here, and then let's check out our sample. So we have this text, and this text. So we come here. To escape this interface, what we have to do is again click on add element, and then this is a text. So definitely what we are making use of is a text widget. You bring this in, click on it and drag it. When you see this line, you drop it. All right, you see where it is here. You should not fidget. Simply come here, click on this dot, give the opportunity to be able to edit your section. Come back to layout, and then align items. Get this done. To come here, I'm going to realize that it is a little bit down, right? So you want to move this to the center. No, back to the center, right? So there. Now, as much as you have positioning for this section, There's also a level of positioning that you have for the widget itself. So that if I click on this text widget now and I come to style, within the width of the widget, I can move it middle, end, and beginning. All right. So with the knowledge of that, to achieve this that I have here, I will then go to advanced and then click on this and click on custom. Now put in mind that I want my text widget to end in this area, something like this, and in fact I want it to overlap. All right, so maybe I should do well to type the text first. So let me copy from here so that we save time with that. I come here, go back to content, paste in what I copied. All right, so let me go to advanced now, come to custom. Okay, I've done that, and then have fun with this. All right, so what I do now is now go to style and bring this to the end. Or let's see if we can get that done with advanced. If you come to align cell, you can simply say center. All right, now align cell brought this to the center. However, it has gone too deep than what we actually want. So still come back to your custom and increase this again. All right, so this brings this to somewhere around here as we want it. Okay, so align self helps you to actually bring things, your entire widget. All right, shift it to the end, center, and beginning. All right, so that's how that works. Okay, all right, so let's leave that for now. I believe you get the gist now. So let's check this out again. We have a text under this, so you come here, you go back to this space. If you want to change the color, of course, you know already, you go to style, you see text color here, you come to white, click on it, whatever color is it you want to use, you input it at this point. All right, so let's come here. You see this that you have here now. If you see this is looking more bold than this, so what you use to achieve that, let's come to our element again, is the text editor. You bring that under here and then you place it. All right, so I don't really input any details under this, I just add fun with it. So you come back to your advanced again, go to width, go there, and then have fun. All right, so you can take this to the middle. You see it's directly under this content that you have here. If you want to change the color also, and come here and change this to white. All right, so let me use this opportunity to introduce a few things to us here. We have seen how align items work. All right, it helps you to shift your stuff to the middle, center, and beginning of your text widget. All right, this is starting from here and it ends here. So even if I start shifting this now, I'm not really going to see. Let me make this of this. When I start shifting this now, this is the best you will see. All right, let me do this again. So that's how align items work. I believe you get it. You at least you have seen it work by yourself. This is text color and this is typography. Typography has to do with you editing the text itself, how you want the text to come out. It all core font, either you get to change your text font. It's in Roboto and I like it that way. If you want to change the size of the text, this is where you get to do it. To input 30 here, for instance, it changes. All right, so you leave it. So depending on the text size that you want, you are going to have to input it in that space. And for the record, this kind of a text that is called something like an heading text should, for your laptop view, should be around 25, and this should be around 15. All right, so if you go to your mobile view, you are now going to have to adjust it to suit the mobile view. I mean, you're going to be seeing what you're doing, so you're going to see what looks reasonable. All right, so you come to weight. This has to do with how thick or how thin you want the text to look. You see, observe this while I change this again. If I come back to 100% thin, you see it looks very thin. If I say bold, it becomes very bold. These things that we are seeing here The same thing applies to this. They are the same thing. You come to transform, you can change everything to uppercase, you can change them to lowercase, you can say capitalize, you can that's that about that. Have fun with it. If you say style, you can change it to italic. Italic and oblique are quite the same. You can have fun with that. If you say decoration, you can underline, you can overline, and then you can line through, and then you can return to default. Right. So for line height is it helps you to clash the space in between the first line and the second. So you do this, you see, then you're going to have to adjust it by yourself, just like that. So word spacing, of course, as it sounds, if you want to make more spaces in between each of these words, you do that with word spacing. All right. So letter spacing also has to do with having space between each of these letters. All right. That's that for that. So let's come back here. So the same way we achieved this is the same way we achieve this. The only difference in between the two is that the text you have here is more than what you have here. All right. So let's create our buttons. What you want to do, you must always return to your Elementor widget, drag in your button. However, before I do that, now when we want to start creating this hero section, we created a section. All right, this is the section, this entire space. Okay, now it's interesting to inform you that you can actually have sections inside a section, so that as you are having your hero section, you can actually have another section inside the hero section. So to achieve something like this button that you have side by side, you will realize that everything we have been creating, we have been dragging into this space, are stacking on it. Our button, we are still going to have the same thing. We're going to stack on each other. All right. Let me drag another button in. We're going to stack on each other. So how do we get this to be side by side? I will do it with this. So that's where the knowledge of having a section inside another section comes to play. So you do that by bringing in a container. So we drag in a container, drop it here. The container in itself is going to be under, it's going to be stacked under what it is that we have dragged into this space. It's another widget on its own, just like the text widget. All right. However, because it is a container, it has the capacity to carry other widgets inside itself. All right. So we don't want something, you see, the effects you have in this interface are the same thing that we have when we click on the space. So they are actually the same thing. It's just that this one is a bigger one that is carrying this one. All right. So on a normal day, when we create this very first section, we come to minimum height and we increase it. However, what we want to achieve here does not require us having a very large container. So we leave it as it is. Let's come back to add element, then drag in our button into this very container that we just brought in. Come back here and drag in another. All right. Now you see that it is still stacking on each other. However, it is stacking on each other inside the container that we brought in. Now this is where your knowledge of direction now comes to play. Then you now go into this very container. The reason why this container is stacking on each other is because when we come here and we go to direction, we have it vertical. Now, even the container we brought into it followed the rule that we have placed. Now we can now go into this very container in itself and set its own rule for it. That okay, you pick direction horizontal, so that whatever it is that you bring into that very container goes horizontal. And that's how you'll be able to achieve having a button side by side. All right, so you can now say, come to justify content and say center. All right, so that center makes it come to the middle. You already know that justify content has to do with beginning, middle, and end, and align items has to do with beginning, middle, and end also in terms of height. All right, so now I said center and it came to this place. However, I want it to be stacking under this. So let's try our width if it will help us to achieve what we want. All right, so in the reducing of the width, we are able to make it balanced. I said it earlier that we're going to see how width actually functions when without adding content, and now you have seen it. All right, so that's that for that. So let's just do a little bit of designing on the button. I'm going to do one and then quickly do the second one with something I can call a technique. All right, so as you are learning a skill, you need to learn things that make you work faster. So if I want to edit this button now, I click on this pencil icon, it brings me here. The content I have in the button is what I'm going to have here. So you write in content here, I'm going to have it inside. So whatever it is you write in this place is what you have inside your button. The link you want the link that you want that button to function for is what you have in this field that says link. Always make sure to do away with that URL, right? So let's go to style. Style is where you get to choose the typography. Now this content that you have inside this space is what this typography is responsible for. The font size, the width of the content, we have done this before, so I won't waste time on it again. All right, so text shadow is one of the things that you can use to make your text beautiful. All right, so text color is to change the color of the text. Background type, that's this green you are seeing here. All right, also you have classic and you have gradient, but in the classic here you only have color. All right, so if you change this to yellow, you see it change immediately. All right, that's that about that. Now border radius, you come here. Border has to do with the line around whatever it is you are doing. If it's a section, the line around this here. If it is a button, the line. If it's a button, the line around it here. All right, so let's click on solid. Then you're going to have to come here and reduce it to 1, so make it very thin. Then come, I'm trying to achieve what we have here, right? This looking circle. So I'll come here now, border radius, I'll now give it some figure. All right, so the more you increase it, the more it gets curved. Right, so you see now this over here is also curved. Now instead of me coming over here to come and start inputting border radius, solid, and all this, I can simply right click on this and say copy, and then I'll right click on this pencil again, and then I will not paste, I will paste style. By the time you paste style, whatever it is you are clicking on, get the style of what you just copied. I copied this and I paste the style on this. That's what I just did. All right, however, the background color of this one is white. Okay, so that style is not actually very the same, but all you have to do now is just to change the background color, and that will be it. So you come to your style again. I just clicked on this pencil, brought me here, so I will locate background type, come here, choose white, and then check text color, come here, choose black, and that's that for that. How is it going with us, guys? Are we getting it tonight? All right, it's getting more interesting. That's good to hear. Okay, so let's get back here and create our last section, which is this very one. Right, so this section we want to create now, intentionally add this here because this is where you are going to really understand how a container functions in another container. Okay, so let's come back here. First thing you want to observe is, let's start creating anyway. Let's create our section. Come here, you click on this, you choose this, and we still click this. Section starts from here and end here. We increase our minimum height. All right, let's get back here. We have a background color which is yellow. Let's come here. You go to style, of course. Come to your classic color. Click on yellow here. Select the color you want. All right. What do we have next? Now you have this here, and you have this here, and then you have this here. Now, to see something like this, you definitely know that this you have above here is a container. What you have here also is another container. All right. Now, when you have these. You have our services, you have ideal solution for time-consuming problems. If all you add is ideal solution for time-consuming problem and then this text, one container will be able to function for that. All you have to do is to change the direction to make things go this angle. So if you get it, okay. But since you have our service now stacking on this one, let me get that done. I come here and I bring in a container. We have established that what we have here is two containers, right? Two containers first. One responsible for this, another one is responsible for these images. All right, so let's come here. We can duplicate this instead of going to bring in another one. All right, so if I come here and I bring in, this is 3 text widget, 1, 2, 3. If I come here and I drag this in, 1, I come back here, drag in another one, 2, and then I come here and I drag in another one, 3. Right, they are stacking on each other. However, this one you have one at this area and another in this area. So let's say it is because the direction is not correct. So I come here, click on this, and come and choose this direction. It is going to give me 3 different sections. There's no way I'm going to be able to achieve having our services and then this under it. So to do that, that suggests you that it is we have 2 more containers. This is a container again, another container inside the general container. Let me get that done. Let me do away with this widget. All right, so this is the container. I'm going to have to bring in this. I've got another container inside it. I will not duplicate that container, or I'm going to drag it another one. But for the sake of time, let's simply duplicate. So we have one container, another container inside this general container. So now this container can have its own direction. So if I click on it, what I have here now will be functioning for this first container inside the general container. So if I come here and say whatever it is I drop into this container should go vertical, it should overlap, then I will be able to come to this space, bring this into here, and then go back again and bring this into the space again. Right, so those 2 things are overlapping, those 2 text widgets are overlapping. Then I can now say, okay, I have this text here. I will now come back here and drag my text editor and put it inside this space. All right, are we getting the gist? Somebody getting it tonight? Okay, it's saying thumbs up. So the rest is, I believe, something you can work around. Okay, if you want this to be in the middle now, you come to this very container. This is one container, this is another container. You come to this container, you click on it, then you say center. It brings it to the center of this very container. This is about writing your text. Okay, our services, and there you write our services there. Then you come here, this content, you write it into this space. All right, then you work on the sizes, and that will give you this. Our time is fast spent. Then you can also change the colors to achieve this. Those are things that are now simple for you as an expert website designer. Agree to know. Okay, so let's come to these images. All right, let's come to this. Now, you have an image here and you have text under it. All right, so this, let me just go straight to the point. This is 4 different containers, all right, that have vertical direction. That's why I'm able to achieve this. All right, so inside this container over here, you're going to need to drag in one container. Yeah, I'm supposed to duplicate this in 4 places to be able to achieve what I have here. But there are things that you do to secure time. All right, so if I come back to this Elementor, I go back to add element, I drag in my image text. See how big as this, don't worry about it. Come back here and I drag in my text widget. Okay, then I will now start duplicating this that I have done. Okay, if you check this out, you are going to see that it has radius. All right, that's the size are cut. I've done radius once, but I did it for a button. But it's the same thing for an image. Click on this icon, come to style, border radius. You see it's curving already. I don't know if you can see it. You can see the edges are curved. All right. By bringing an image, it helps you to see it better. So go to content, choose image, select your image, and then you have it. You see it there. Now, but what I need is for, so I can now start duplicating this section. I can start duplicating this section. We are not getting what we want, right? But that error you are having will be fixed with just a click. In this place, you have it lined like this, but in this place, you have it stacking on each other like this. All right. So since this is the last thing that we'll be doing, I would like to see if we have really understood what we have been explaining so far. What is it that we are going to do that will help us solve this problem that we have here? What's that thing that we should do to help us solve this problem we have here now? Anybody want to try? Everybody have run away now. We should change the position of the container to vertical. Message me after this class. I owe you 1 gig data. All right, so you come back here, then you come to horizontal actually, but at least you just understand that it is about direction. So you come here. Okay, I made a mistake just now. Let me control Z. All right, so if you make an error, try Control Z. It works sometimes it doesn't work. So now what I just did now, the error was because I was clicking on the wrong section. When I went to click on vertical, I'm going to get a different result. So sometimes you can be stuck on something, not because you're not doing the right thing, but you are doing the right thing in the wrong place. That's what just happened now. So you are going to need to make sure that you locate this general container. This thing is looking like nothing changed, but something has changed. Okay, just make sure you have clicked the right thing and come here and click this. This is what we have here now, and that was the same thing that you have here, right? The only difference is the radius we used here is more than the radius that I used here, right? So that's that for that. Now, if you have done everything you want to do, you have created very beautiful websites and you refuse to publish, you have not done anything. By the time you come back into that page tomorrow, it will be as empty can be. So publishing your page is what makes it get saved. That is you saving whatever it is you have done. If you have edited, if you have made changes, whatever it is you have done in your page, always publish. So publish, and that's that about